Hello, everyone, and welcome to another week of the Ubuntu Community Team Q&A. This is the opportunity to ask anything that you want to know about Ubuntu, open source, and anything that we can give you an answer for. The only questions that we generally don't answer are the ones about support, where you can get better information on better suited channels such as Ask Ubuntu, the forums, or the mailing list. Other than that, it's pretty much ask whatever you want. Just remember to prepend your questions with the word questions on IRC so that we can easily spot them. If you're seeing us and if you're on IRC, as it's traditional, if you can let us know that, that the sound and the live feed is coming up, then just let us know. And I think that's pretty much it in terms of logistics. If you're watching ubuntuonair.com, there you'll find a chat widget where you can actually ask your questions. I see it from the audience that JNXC is telling us that sound is okay. Other people are telling us as well, so thanks a lot for confirming. I'm David Planella. I manage the Ubuntu community team at Canonicals. Today, I'm joined by another community manager of Ubuntu, Nicholas Skaggs. I'll be here to answer the rest of your questions too. All right. We've got some exciting guests coming today as well. They'll be joining us on the second half of the call, as they were having a conflicting meeting. Someone is telling us that Ubuntu on Air is not working. Let me check if someone can help us with that. All right, some people in the audience as well are picking on Nick's new room. Perhaps this is the new question. So what's going on, Nick?
It's like rainbow colors like behind me. I've decorations. Yeah, I'm in a new room. It's not creepy at all that people know that.
All right.
No, I mean, if it's a bit fun, you know, if we ever left your fern, David, I think we would all kind of cry a little, you know, the light and those are like David's backdrops. So it is quite funny how used to backdrops you get.
All right. Okay, cool. So let's start with the announcements this week. We've had some quite a lot of exciting news lately. One of the ones one of them was the tablet announcement, Convergence announcement, Convergence becoming real, and we'll talk about this in more detail with Pat and Richard later on. But also we've had Ubuntu running as part of as an organization in the Google Coding program, for which the winners were just announced very recently. We've had some winners from who contributed to Ubuntu, and I think Nick wants to tell us a bit more how Google Coding went, who the winners were, and essentially your thoughts on actually being one of the organizers or mentors.
Sure, and you know, I wanted to lead in with some great stats, but they're slipping my mind at the moment. I want to say we had, I know we had more than 200 students. I don't know if it was, how many more than that it was. And I want to say we did 500 tasks. That might be right. But anyways, we had the difficulty of narrowing down all those students and taking a look at their work. And Google actually gives us the opportunity to look at the top 10 and pick 5 for actual winners. And that was really, really difficult. And then on top of that, we have to pick 2 to actually be grand prize winners or finalists, whatever they call them. I get confused. And those 2 actually are going to win a trip to Google itself. And so Matthew Allen and XCub were our 2 grand finalists. Big congratulations to both of you. And we had, like I said, picking the top 5 was difficult, and picking, just having to pick 2 of those to be grand finalist winners was very hard. So for everyone who contributed and took part in Google Code-In, a big thank you. You guys did a lot of great work. I know I personally really enjoyed it, being a mentor. I really enjoyed helping you guys out, introducing you to the community, and seeing the enthusiasm. It's always really nice to sort of work with people who are discovering Ubuntu for the first time, and discovering the community and understanding what open source is. So thank you for letting me be your guide on that journey that you took. And again, thank you for all the work, and anyone in the top 10, and especially the top 5, you guys should feel really proud and know that it was very difficult to actually choose the last 2. So you all did really good work. I guess you made our job as mentors very difficult. So thank you.
All right, thanks, Nick. I think we got the first question asking if that was your baby in the background.
Yes, she's nearby.
All right, the next Ubuntu contributor.
I think there's a dog by the window too. I don't know if you can see him. New room, new animals. It's exciting.
All right. Okay, cool. All right, we're starting to have the first questions. As I said before on IRC, if you've got any questions related to Tablet, feel free to start asking already, and we'll queue them up for when Pat and Richard join us later on today. In terms of the announcements today, just to wrap up, we've got the Ubuntu Online Summit coming up soon. That's going to be from the 3rd to the 5th of March. And as usual, it will be 3 days of sessions all related to Ubuntu, with demos, presentations, and other ways to learn more about the cool new things that are happening in Ubuntu. It's also a nice venue for Ubuntu teams to present the work that they've been doing. And I stand corrected. That's going to be from the 3rd to the 5th of May, not March, as I've said before. Thanks, Daniel Holbeck, for correcting me. You'll be hearing more about the online summit. We essentially did the first planning call kickoff, and starting with next week, we'll be scheduling public calls for on Ubuntu On Air. For everyone who wants to get involved or learn more about planning the next Ubuntu Online Summit. Other than that, we've got some other exciting things coming up. You might have seen it today in the news. This is something that Marius Gripsgaard, a regular on the Q&A as well, has been working on for a bit now. We've got some preliminary Fairphone 2 Ubuntu port, which is something that's really cool. Marius has been working hard on ubports.com and on several different ports that are becoming quite popular. One being the 1+1, and more recently, as I said, the Fairphone 2 port. So you've probably read the news on Softpedia and on OMG Ubuntu. But yeah, essentially it's true. We're working on a community port for Fairphone 2 to get Ubuntu running on that device. I think it's a really nice match between the philosophies that Ubuntu and Fairphone itself are seeking, and I'm really looking forward to test it very soon. Actually, I haven't flashed my device. I've got a Fairphone 2 demo device, which I'm going to flash right after this call has finished. All right, Nick, have I forgotten anything? Any other announcements before we dive into the questions?
I guess, did we mention Google Summer of Code? Maybe we did, maybe we didn't.
No, we didn't. So I think you might be the best person to talk about this then.
Sure. Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but so Summer of Code opened Google Summer of Code opened applications this week. So for those of you who may have heard, we've hinted at wanting to apply. We will be undertaking an application, but that means we're going to be looking forward to needing mentors and ideas for projects for students to work on. And of course, if you're a student and are interested in contributing to Ubuntu over the summer, you can keep us in mind as you apply next month and look to do Google Summer Code yourself. So anyways, there'll be more announcements later on that'll fill you in on details, but I thought I would give a little tease anyway to continue the rhetoric that yes, we're still applying and that's still in progress. So keep Google Summer Code in mind.
Excellent. All right then, so let's have a look at IRC. Questions are piling up. So I'm going to skip, as I said before, I'm going to skip the tablet ones, but we'll get them to answer later on. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, the first question is from Andrew Hazen. If translations are made to a project which is actually upstream, for example, GIMP, do translations made in Launchpad get automatically pushed upstream, or do they have to be pushed manually, or do they not get pushed at all? Essentially, the way it works is that I cannot really give you a straight answer, I think, but let me just give you a bit of context first. I mean, I can't give you a straight answer. What I mean is that I have to explain a bit more how this works first. Generally, Ubuntu is translated by teams by what we call localization teams. There's generally one team for each language, although there are teams which take care of several different languages. But these are generally the exception. What Ubuntu translators do through these teams is to actually translate the whole of the distribution or the whole of the OS by going to translations.launchpad.net and picking a release, and then within that release picking a particular project. Taking GIMP as an example, then these translations made it into GIMP for Ubuntu as part of language packs, and there is no automated way of syncing these translations upstream. There had been work in order to make this easier a while ago, when we used to have a Launchpad translations engineering team. This was made by pushing translations automatically to a branch and then being able to then in turn push those branches into upstream. Unfortunately, that work never got completely implemented, so that the way that it works right now is that translations are generally pushed upstream by the translations team manually. Several different teams have got several different workflows. Some teams translate first in Ubuntu in Launchpad because they like the UI. It makes it easier to do the translations themselves, and then they download those translations and then push them upstream, again manually. Or some teams decide to translate only upstream, and then for these translations to get imported into Launchpad, which is something that happens automatically. And then if there are any additional contributions made in Launchpad, then they get them back to upstream. So I think the straight answer is there is no automated export of translations to upstream projects that are outside of Launchpad. If the translations are hosted in Launchpad, the exports happen automatically. And where there's no automated export, then translation teams are there to take care of making sure that there's a workflow to work with upstream in any direction. So yeah, convoluted answer, but if you've got any questions on any particular aspects, just let me know. All right then. So we've got
a lot of tablet questions. I'm trying to sort them and save them for later from Pat and Robert. Come on.
Cool.
I think the next question that's not tablet specific is about the HUD. Chloe Wolfie Girls. Well, sorry, I skipped D-Shimmers first. He says, seeing Ubuntu in cars and devices is really exciting, but it got me wondering, when a Ubuntu powered car crashes or the fridge burns the house down and the owner starts suing everyone in sight, will there be anything separate Canonical from the manufacturer who integrated the system? So he says, we know it'll happen. Is this something that Canonical is preparing for? He's sort of concerned about our lawsuit happy world.
I mean, I think it's mostly the same as in, I mean, I think the car makes it a bit more different because, yeah, it's like the protection is it's a big device. It's also something that can put person's life at risk when there's an accident. But there's always this the same relationship between Canonical and the manufacturer as well. I mean, I cannot really explain how the legalese works because I'm not part of the legal team. But one thing that I can assure you is that Canonical has got a very competent legal team, and whenever Canonical engages with a manufacturer, with a partner, the legal team or legal teams on both sides are involved to make sure that that everything is done correctly, and then that every party is well covered.
Yes, and to be fair, speaking generally, you know, if you wreck your car now or your fridge burns your house down, I guess you can do anything you want, but I don't think there's precedent for blaming the car company for something you do. So I don't think this is a problem that's unique to us, nor is it something that I suppose we should really be overly concerned with. The next question, it's not tablet specific, I think it's from Chloe Wolfie Girl, and she asks, is there any HUD update?
I think that's Chloe's resident question on the Q&A.
Great question, correct.
So I think ever since the last time we spoke about this, there haven't been any updates. I know that there has been. I mean, I remember at UbuCon at Scale, actually on the live Q&A with the design team, there was actually someone in the audience asking the same question. I mean, the answer from Johnny from the design team. You can actually go and check it out on the YouTube Scales stream. But if I remember correctly, was that the design team are always looking at different ways of interfacing the devices with users. So that is one of them. In terms of engineering work going on right now, there's not much going on, being quite honest. But as I said, the design team are always looking at the UX and innovative ways to make this interaction more useful to the user.
Okay, I think the next non-tablet question is there any progress on making the dash in the Unity 8 desktop?
I think one thing that you might want to check out, and after this I'm just gonna step out a bit and turn on the light because it's becoming really dark in here. One thing that you should definitely check out if you're on Ubuntu 16.04 is the Unity 8 desktop session, which will show you the actual progress of Unity 8 running on an actual desktop. Right now we've got scopes dash right now. But yeah, we're looking at ways of implementing the designs for the dash on the desktop. And bear with me 1 second, and I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. We can see David now. I'm looking for the next non-tablet question. There's a lot of great questions in here. Chloe Wolfie Girl, I think, is next again, and asking about Unity 7 and Wacom tablets. So she asks, with Unity 7 Wacom tablets, they have a setting space in system settings. What's the plan for Wacom tablet support for drawing? I assume that maybe she's talking about Unity 8. I'm not sure, but what can you talk about? What can you say about Wacom tablets? Anything?
I mean, I can speak from the user side of things. I've got a Wacom tablet. I don't use it as much as I used to, but for Unity 8, I mean, I understand that the question is for Unity 8, as in Unity 7, the tablet just works. Of course, we're looking at ways of interfacing new input devices to Unity 8. I'm not sure the tablet is the next one in the roadmap. I think things like making sure there's better Bluetooth support for keyboard and mouse, and making sure that there's good support for interfacing with monitors in convergence mode are the next big topics in the priority list. But we're looking at other input devices as well. So yeah, I think the best thing might be perhaps to ask on the Ubuntu Desktop channel in terms of input device support on Unity 8.
Okay, scanning. I think again, there's a ton of excellent tablet questions in here. I guess this one's not specific either. Chloe Wolfie Girl asks, what are some features you're looking forward to in OTA 10 and OTA 11? I think OTA 10 is planned for about a month from now, maybe about 3 weeks from now, something like that. And OTA 11 is obviously much further beyond that. David, you want to go first?
I'd have to look at it myself, to be honest. We haven't even had 9.5 yet. So OTA 10, as far as I know, is planned for March. I don't think we've got a date for OTA 11 yet, but I mean, you can think of as a rule of thumb, it will be 6 weeks after the March OTA 10. What I'll do, I think, is I'll just refer you to the milestones page, which is what I generally use myself to look at what we look forward for the next OTA. So I'm just going to paste it here on IRC. These are these are the features and bugs that we're targeting for each OTA. You'll see that OTA 9.5 and OTA 10 are scheduled for January and February. Just as a heads up, these dates need updating. OTA 9.5, I think the release is happening today, and OTA 10 is going to be the beginning of March. I think what I'll do is I'll just send you a link to the actual OTA for OTA 10, as the list of targeted bugs is really huge. So expect quite a lot of fixes going on. what I'm looking forward actually, that's not yet on this, are the new apps that we're planning to add to this next OTAs. One is going to be Deco, and the other one I'll leave it as a surprise for the next Q&A, perhaps.
Ooh, he's staying hush hush.
All right.
Just some guesses. I want to see IRC explode now. What could be the next default app? For me, I'm looking forward to VPN support, which I hope it's supposed to land, and I hope it does. So, let's see. Dragonbite wants to know when the next big announcement for Ubuntu phones is likely. I think that's fairly easy to answer, actually. MWC is coming up this month. I'm guessing if we're going to see any announcements, that we would see something happen there. I know Ubuntu will be there, Canonical will be there, and we'll be talking about phone stuff. So when is the actual date for MWC, David?
I think the 20...
I want to say 22nd, maybe?
Or 23rd. I think it's the week of... I mean, in any case, it's the week of the 22nd of February.
So 2 weeks.
All right, then. So yeah, I see some guesses on IRC. I'm thinking. I mean, I see some things that I would expect, but also expect something that perhaps hasn't been discussed on this channel. All right, so we've got, let me just pick another question from Chloe Wolfigal. When can I install Ubuntu Personal on a laptop desktop, with it being all snappy based rather than having it in an LXC container? I think I'm going to give you perhaps a not so definitive answer, but it's going to be after 1604. I mean, I'm not expecting, I mean, right now we're busy preparing the next LTS. So I'm not expecting any news on Ubuntu Personal, as in having a testable image before the end of 1604. But we want to revamp the Ubuntu Personal efforts after the on the way to the 1604 release. And yeah, expect to see some news in that direction after 1604. All right then, and we've got Richard Collins joining us. Welcome, Richard.
Hi, David.
Hello. Richard is the product manager for Ubuntu devices, and is the person who's been saving all of the tablet questions for. We've got quite a lot of excitement on IRC about the new tablet announcements. And I see that Pat joined us as well, so welcome, Pat.
Hey, guys.
Hi, Pat. Pat is the engineering director in charge of the phone, tablet and in general devices projects on Ubuntu. Nick, I think we queued up some of the questions. Do you want to start picking up the first ones?
Sure. We'll just start at the top. There's a lot of questions. I'll try and pick up the repeats, but if I ask you one, feel free to just tell me that. So the first one is, I'm wondering why we're targeting ARM tablet and not an x86 tablet. Specifically, they're mentioning wanting to play Steam.
Okay, I mean, well, the key reason for that is because we're working with an OEM that manufactures ARM-based devices. So we would equally love to work with an OEM that ships an x86. We know how to run the product on x86. It's just that we have more advanced discussions with ARM-based OEMs. That's the simple answer.
Excellent. JNXD asks, when will the tablet be released in India? And would it be through BQ or Snapdeal? And what about accessories? They're just wanting to know about India availability.
In India, okay, that's so we will be talking to Snapdeal about making the product available there. There are no plans to have it in India, but it will be available. The first case directly from BQ, but we have, as we know, we have arrangements in place with distributors in other parts of the world, and we will be looking to make it more widely available through those distribution partners as well.
All right. Next question is wondering what is new and improved with the tablets. So in other words, what new and improved features have been worked on specifically for the tablet?
Okay, there's a few. So first off, we're introducing a side stage capability, so the ability to run 2 apps on the display at the same time. So I'm sure side stage is familiar with everybody in terms of how that works. It's effectively you can launch an application that is developed to run on that in a kind of mobile interface, which swipes in from the right of the display, and then we have the concept of what's called a main stage application running alongside a side stage application. And the idea is you can, as I say, you can interact with 2 applications at the same time. So that's great for things like WebRTC applications, for example, having a video call running in side stage, perhaps while you're browsing or using some other reference application that's necessary for the call. So lots of really interesting use cases about how you might want to use 2 applications at once. And we're going to be engineering some real flexibility into that, so the ability to grab and drag applications from main stage to side stage and vice versa. So there's a new way in which the applications can be displayed on the tablet. Then, of course, the really big story about what we're launching with the tablet is the ability to turn it into a fully fledged Ubuntu PC. So by connecting a mouse or keyboard, you instantly turn the tablet into a PC, a full PC interface. This obviously has huge advantages in terms of turning it into a productivity tool as well as something that is completely mobile and touch-based. So we're very, very excited about the idea of bringing true convergence to the market. We think it's something that nobody else is really doing in the same way. So obviously Apple isn't doing anything in terms of true PC convergence. Microsoft has its Continuum, which is a form of convergence, but isn't really the same thing we're doing. Windows 10 as a smartphone platform is still different to Windows 10 as a PC platform. So they don't have real OS convergence in the same way that we do. So this is a unique offering that we're putting into this product here, and we're very excited about the idea of having our first real milestone in terms of OS convergence running on this tablet.
Awesome. All right. This is a pretty straightforward question. Will the tablet be based on Snappy and or Ubuntu 16.04?
Sorry, the last bit. And or Ubuntu, what, sorry?
Ubuntu 16.04. Presumably they're wondering what release, if it's going to have 16.04 bits in it or not.
Well, it won't be run on Snappy at this stage, but the roadmap around everything we do in terms of our product strategy is we'll bring Snappy into the picture at the right time. I believe it's going to be based on 1510, Pat, is that correct? So, yeah, but I mean, we will be based on...
The bases we're shipping with the other devices right now. And so that'll be the case for several months. We will move to 16.04 at some point, that is the plan, and these devices will get updated.
Okay. Next question. TechLords asks, will the users of the Ubuntu tablet be able to change the desktop environment? So presumably he's wondering about, I'm guessing in convergence mode, if he doesn't want to run Unity, but he wants to run OpenBox or something, is that going to be a possibility for him?
It's not, no. So what will run on the desktop is full-blown Unity 8 with all of the existing catalog of cute apps that are running in the store right now, that have been growing, since we launched the Ubuntu smartphone. In addition to that, we have a specific container which will be available to run legacy X11 applications such as LibreOffice, Firefox. We're running a GNOME IRC XChat client. We're running GIMP, gedit. So we'll have a pre-installed selection of X apps that will run. There's also the ability to use the command line interface to access the archive and install directly other apps if they're of interest. But yeah, that's so in terms of the Unity 8 offering. It's broadly speaking, that's what will run on the product at this stage.
Okay, makes sense. Next question. So this is actually a pretty good follow-up question. So they said the tablet's going to come with LibreOffice, GIMP, and Firefox pre-installed. I guess you can confirm or deny that, right?
Yeah.
Will we see them in the store? In other words, will it be? I don't know. I guess that's an interesting question, but you want to answer that? So they'll be pre-installed. Is that something like we'll be able to say get Firefox and from the Ubuntu store, or will it always be something that I have to go to the command line and install?
So we have specifically packaged a set of apps, the main ones of which were mentioned there, so LibreOffice, gedit, and Firefox. So they won't be available in the store. There's a specific piece of work that we're looking at about how we start to enable the store over time to make more and more desktop-specific apps available. But our main focus really is encouraging people to build desktop apps in the native Qt environment, and of course that's something that the store is readily available to support right now. So Mira, for example, is very well established, and there are many types of desktop applications that can easily enable a Mira backend and have them running as on this product and have them packaged and available in the store. So the store is very much the store as it stands right now is very much has the possibility to allow applications to be sort of available and installed. But at this stage, in terms of launch, we have selected a number of apps that run in that X11 container that will run as a pre-install, but not with support directly from the store at this stage.
All right. Dragonbite asks an easy question. He's asking if the tablet runs Unity 7 or Unity 8. Obviously, we've sort of answered that it runs Unity 8, and I think we've also answered the fact that Unity 7 or other desktop environments kind of out of the box is not an option. The question, curious about orientation awareness. So does the tablet have orientation awareness when it's connected via keyboard, mouse, and monitor? And I'm not sure what they would to desire from knowing your portrait when you're connected.
It's not a use case we've tested actually, but no, it's fixed at landscape as you would expect for a typical PC interface.
Okay. Here's a good question. So you mentioned side stage, and this question is actually about tablet mode and asking for some new pictures or new images. Is there presumably you guys will probably have a press release soon enough, but they're just curious for some new images and new examples of what this tablet mode looks like and what side stage looks like, what it looks like now on the real tablet.
Okay, so it's there are images being released. There's a pretty comprehensive set on our website under the devices section that we're showing on the M10, the BQ M10. So the website has some pretty good visuals in terms of what that looks like. I mean, at MWC we're going to be fully focused on promoting it and demonstrating it. So there'll be a lot of collateral coming out from that as well, I imagine. So, but at the moment, I think the Ubuntu website is the best place to get an immediate idea about how it would look running on that hardware.
Okay, excellent. I think if you go to insights.ubuntu.com, I think you'll find links to what Richard's talking about. Next question: is the tablet going to be usable for drawing, maybe with Krita or GIMP?
GIMP runs on the tablet, so yeah, if that's an application that you like to use for drawing, then that's there for you.
And can you? Is it possible to use the tablet itself as a touch input, as opposed to using the mouse? So with your desktop mode.
Yeah. So you have access to all the full touch input when it's in desktop mode. Obviously, when you're talking about desktop-specific applications, you're not getting the right kind of. It's not designed for pure touch input, even though it is available. But yeah, the interface is fully touch enabled.
I think this is also, if I understood the question, they may be asking, can you use it as a mouse and keyboard while it's connected to a monitor? And we do, in fact, have a feature that supports that.
Okay, excellent. So speaking of convergence mode, Dragonbite's wondering what all triggers convergence mode. So we've talked a little bit about, we know plugging in a monitor via HDMI will trigger it. Can you manually trigger it? Is there any other way to sort of turn on convergence mode? What's the logic behind that?
Yeah, so there will be a manual toggle directly from the interface that will allow you to switch between windowed mode and touch mode. Additionally, connecting a Bluetooth mouse will also trigger that switch as well.
Okay. Next question, wondering about the App Store for the tablet and phone. When will it be able to be viewed on a web browser? So when will I be able to browse the Ubuntu App Store on my local PC?
Sorry, Nicholas, I didn't get that question. Can I have it again?
So currently, if I want to view an application in the App Store for the phone, I need to be running on a device like a phone or a tablet in order to view the App Store. I can't sit here now and use my PC and go to a URL and see the App Store. So they're just wondering when might I be able to browse the App Store online on a generic device, not on an Ubuntu phone or tablet.
So I believe there is a catalog online. Do you know much more about?
Yeah, there's actually one of the guys in the community has a mirror that is available from a web browser. We haven't actually completed the work ourselves to offer that, but it's already out there and it seems to work quite well. I don't have the URL handy, but it's pretty discoverable.
Yeah, I think it's
upexplorer.com.
It rings a bell, yeah.
Yeah, that's I think. Yeah, that's the actual URL, upexplorer.com. That's as Pat was saying. That's the work of a community member. That's Brian Douglas, and he's been doing an awesome job at essentially making the store available online. Which is pretty cool. I mean, I think that's a really nice example of where the community complements the work that canonical engineering teams might be doing. All
right. So next question. They're wondering what the phone apps are looking like on the tablet. They want to know also if they work well. In other words, are there any applications that you foresee will translate well to a tablet, and in general, do they work well? Do they look good on the tablet?
Yeah, in terms of pure touch, so we have the ability within the SDK to recognize what display is required and provide some help for the application to make sure that it scales correctly to the display that's being used. There's also the possibility to use the SDK in terms of a developer environment to select certain UI components that will mean that the application adapts a little bit more smartly to when the application is used on a phone or a tablet. So there are some levels of kind of automated dynamic support that we provide anyway for when an application is used on a phone or a tablet, and there are some UI components and capabilities that are available within the SDK that a developer can use to purposefully access, knowing that app can be used on either a phone or a tablet.
All right. So for those of you who might have seen demos, I know we showed them here before on our Q&A, showing nice convergence demos where as the screen size changes, the application scales and shows you more and interesting different views.
Yeah. I mean, and there's another level to answer that question in terms of whether or not how it's represented in terms of a desktop application as well. So there's again, there are a number of components available that developers can use to ensure their app scales and adapts to being used with a point and mouse input, as opposed to pure touch. So these are all things that we thought about in terms of wanting applications to run as neatly and as well as possible on any type of device, and whether it's a phone or a tablet, or any type of display, whether or not it's touch or a PC interface.
All right, let's keep going. I think perhaps one might be for you. Chloe Wolfie Girl asks, is there any update on the Messenger app that gives plugin support for IM applications? So presumably maybe doing something beyond just SMS.
So I don't know if there's any real update there, other than, of course, that we have that capability because of the telepathy backend. So we would like to see some other backends integrated, for example, Telegram and some others. But there's nothing imminent there. But there are plans for the future.
All right. This question is kind of for both of you guys. Sponge wants to know. He asks if you're both satisfied that the tablet doesn't come with a SIM card slot. In other words, is this something that you thought about, or?
I think that's really the EQ's decision of which product they'd like to offer.
Sure.
And we will, we're going to see this convergence feature on other devices, in the future. So some of those will have SIM cards.
There you go. Chloe Wolfer Girl asks, what size does the tablet need to be for desktop mode to occur? In other words, is there any restrictions on desktop mode?
No, there's no restrictions.
Okay.
So for what it's worth, I mean, you can do it on the Nexus 4 today, right? So it may be a little bit difficult to use, but you can certainly do it.
Right. I suppose the only limitation is your eyes, right?
Right, and the size of your finger.
And the size of your finger. Speaking of the size of your finger, will the tablet support styluses?
It does not. It's I don't believe it does. Richard, you could correct me. I'm sure it's a capacitive screen.
That's right. Yeah, it doesn't.
Next question: will this tablet be viable at my local Curry's PC World? In other words, they want to know about retail presence.
Well, retail presence at this stage is going to, from launch, is directly from BQ, so it's an online distribution model.
Okay. Next question is talking about porting. So obviously we've had a porting guide for phones for a while, and we've had some rather successful community ports actually. Is there any plans for community ports for tablets?
I haven't seen any plans. I'm just thinking. No, I haven't seen anything specific. I did see a thread regarding a Zony Z product, but I can't honestly share if that's something that's got real traction at the moment. But there's no reason at all why the community and what we do can't focus on other tablet products. But I haven't seen anything specific that I can share, unfortunately.
I think what I would say as well, and perhaps bounce the question back to the person who asked, is that essentially there's nothing. If there's someone who wants to do a tablet port, there's nothing stopping them. I mean, but in reality, the challenge is that up until now, we didn't have a retail product with a tablet interface. So I think once the M10 is out, this can be used as a reference as well for doing any community ports. I mean, ports are always subject to which hardware is available. But in any case, I think if there's in the same way that we do with the phone, if there's a tablet that can run CyanogenMod where we can port Ubuntu, I think the community should be able to look at ways of porting Ubuntu to that hardware.
Yeah. Yeah, and as I was saying before, I mean, our SDK is going to be enriched with particular things that allow that kind of device to run Ubuntu. So there's more help out there to help people that want to do this kind of porting.
All right. Next question is wondering, now that there's a Convergence tablet, will there be more effort in clickifying, snappifying existing desktop applications? In other words, will we see Convergence sort of being moved forward and pushed forward by actually having a Convergence device?
Very much so, yeah. That's absolutely where we're moving forward. I don't know if you've got any reference points to answer that, Pat. It's other than the fact that it's an emphatic yes. That's where we're going. I don't know.
I agree. It's just an emphatic yes.
Declarge is asking about firewalls. Asking about the UFW firewall being installable on the tablet. Again, presumably you have the command line available. You have the full archives. It's in the archives. You can install it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the usual caveat that if you install it on the system image side, your updates will wipe it out. If you install it in the home for the X apps, then I think it can work from there. I haven't tried that.
Yeah, I suppose the only limitation on installing it on that side is having access to system level stuff, right?
Yeah, but I think that's there's been some blogs about doing things that way, which is a great way to have your root there and get the archive in there.
Right. We've got about 5 minutes left. I think we've got a bunch of questions still. I think we should pick one or two and go with them. I think. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pick a couple of ones myself. I mean, some of them have been answered through other ones that we've been discussing. So I think it should be fine. Anyway, guest 345 is asking, will BQ and Meizu phones get the ability to run X applications in future updates?
So that's well, it's a hardware requirement. So the existing phones that are out there right now. So for X apps, you obviously want the convergence feature. The convergence feature is dependent on fundamentally the ability to connect the phone to a monitor and use HDMI, which these existing phones they don't have that capability right now. In the future, any Ubuntu phone that has the ability to do HDMI support can have convergence. There's no issue with it running on that hardware, but currently those particular devices don't support the convergence feature. So that's a no.
Cool. The next question from Zbish is how's updating the pre-installed apps such as Firefox? Let me just rephrase. How will updating the pre-installed apps such as Firefox will work on the tablet if they're not in the store?
Yeah, for the short term, the apps will get installed with system updates, or they'll get updated with.
Pat, would you mind repeating that? I think.
Sorry. The system image updater is going to take care of that in the short term.
Okay, cool. Another question from Sponge. What are the problems with getting 2G, 2.5G on the phones for the American market?
It's not doing
So what is the problem about getting support for the?
Yeah, Sponge is just asking for American or the U.S. market support. And he's wondering if it's, if we're concerned that we've missed an opportunity, and is there a way basically he can enjoy a device here in the U.S.
Well, both the BigQ and Meizu phones all the devices will run in the U.S. We just don't have a U.S. carrier, or none of the OEMs have decided to offer it in the U.S. yet. But the phones will work in the U.S.
Yeah, he's just lamenting the lack of LTE basically support, which is kind of a hardware that's I suppose a complicated thing.
Although the MX4 runs quite fast here in the U.S.
Yes, it does have 3G.
yeah, I don't know what to say.
All right. So next question, I'm going to pick one that's been asked recently from HA. Is there a chance that we will get an X8060 distro of the OS that will be on the M10? I think the question is rather will we get Ubuntu Classic running on the M10?
Yeah, that's the problem.
We won't. I mean, the key to the whole support story and the convergence feature is the fact that Unity 8 can do this. It can a single Unity 8 input.
That just means that the whole site is fully running on it.
Page mode and window mode, and nothing else can do that.
All right, cool. I think we've got time for yet another question. Let me see. We've got some good ones here. Oh, I think this is a nice one to wrap up. So we've been talking about the Ubuntu Online Summit coming up from the 3rd to the 5th of May, which we've just literally started planning today. The audience is asking, will we see either Pat or Richard at the next Ubuntu Online Summit?
Well, speaking for myself, I do participate in the online summits, and I have been to the last several, so I will probably be there.
I'm very happy to attend. I think, given the announcement we're making about the Convergence products, is probably going to be a very valid reason for me to be there. So yeah, I'll certainly make myself available.
Excellent. I think with this we can wrap it up for today. So thanks a lot, Pat McGowan, and thanks a lot, Richard Collins, for joining us today. It's been it's really cool to see the interest in Convergence growing, and especially after the latest announcements of devices implementing the real Convergence story. So thanks a lot, everyone on the audience, for asking the questions and for joining us today. We'll have more next week at the same hour on the next Ubuntu Community Team Q&A. We haven't confirmed any guests yet, but if you've got any suggestions, just let us know, and then we'll make we'll make sure that we do all we can. And with this, thanks a lot, everyone, and until next week.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Soon.